And welcome back in to Walk Off Sports Media's podcast. It's going to be episode 3. We're going to cover a lot of good sports news for you guys coming right up. All right. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Chase Cross. I'm joined here with Kyle Yannicek and Dylan Martinez. How was y'all's weeks? Pretty interesting week of sports. We had I mean, I know Dylan, we weren't too happy with how Texas played, but then we had a great Sunday with the Cowboys. So how are
Or
we feeling after last week?
I think we just solidify having the best offense in the league by far. It
100%.
and I know we went up against a Commanders team with no receivers available. I mean, for God's sakes, they started Robbie Chosen, but defense looked like it stepped up at least one step in the right direction. So can't be too mad.
100%.
Yeah, I'd say I
100%
had a.
holding. What are you going to say
Oh,
about your week and your
I was just gonna say
Texans?
it hasn't been a great week for me so far. Toronto Blue Jays though kind of saved me a little bit. My Seattle Mariners hate watch has come to an end for the season, and my Rockets lost by 1 point tonight. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it was a great game.
That was a great game. Way to start the NBA season. Personally, Saturday was a little bit rough watching that Texas game, but then, I woke up on Sunday, got to watch Manchester United beat Liverpool, which is a massive win. We'll get into that obviously later, and then watch the Cowboys kick ass. So it was a great weekend. So
Well,
we're gonna start off right here with our. Oh, what were you gonna say, Dylan?
I said, oh shit. I said we got to see some history with Brandon Aubrey
Yeah,
felt felt record for the most 60 yarders.
shoot, I'm gonna have to show y'all something. This is my like. I don't think I've ever showed y'all this, but this is my prize right here. I got a Brandon Aubrey signed football. So
Okay.
As a
yeah,
kicker, voted.
yeah. I mean, that's my guy. I mean, shoot, greatest kicker of all time. I think I could probably say that pretty confidently now. He is the greatest kicker of all time, or in the conversation at least. That dude is an absolute demon. I mean, to already set the record of most 60-yard field goals in a season, and we're on week 7. So this is ridiculous. But really, really, I mean, he's it's awesome. But moving right ahead into our NFL recap for week 7. Started out on Thursday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 33-31. Joe Flacco got his first win with the Bengals, and Jamar Chase had a great game. Then early Sunday morning, the Los Angeles Rams beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 35-7. And then starting off our 12 o'clock window, the Carolina Panthers beat the New York Jets 13-6 in a game that looks like got Justin Fields benched. Then the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Minnesota Vikings 28-22. Philadelphia looked great on offense. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith both had great games. Kansas City Chiefs dominate the Las Vegas Raiders 31-0, pitching not only a shutout, but putting up a lot of points on offense. Shout out to Rashee Rice coming back from injury and having a good game. Then the New England Patriots beat the Tennessee Titans 31-13. Cleveland Browns dominate the Miami Dolphins 31-6. Tua turned the ball over through 3 interceptions. Just a really poor game from him. The Chicago Bears beat the New Orleans Saints 26-14. The Colts beat the Chargers 38-24. Denver Broncos beat the New York Giants 33-32, coming back from down 19 going into the fourth quarter. The Green Bay Packers beat the Arizona Cardinals 27-23. The Dallas Cowboys dominate the Washington Commanders 44-22. And then on Sunday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Atlanta Falcons 20-10. And then on Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions dominated the Buccaneers 24-9. And then in the late night game of the week on Monday Night Football, the Seahawks beat the Houston Texans 27-19. And I got to give a big shout out to the Texans defense. I was down 15 points in fantasy, and they ended up coming through with a 17 spot to get me the win. So appreciate the Texans defense. But moving right ahead, Cowboys versus Commanders. I mean, they might have the best wide receiver duo in the league. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens absolutely dominated that Commanders secondary. And you know what? Dak looks great throwing to him too. But do you guys think this is the best wide receiver duo in the league right now?
I mean, it's definitely up there. I mean, you gotta think about it. Both CD and George Pickens both took their turns bending Marshawn Lattimore over and spanking him, putting him BTA. It was straight
Belt.
like that man has kids. Like they had to watch that game. They both abused him, and I feel like they complement each other's game perfectly. They could both be deep ball threats, but George Pickens really has proved and shined and proven other people that he's not just a deep ball threat. He could run those curl routes. He could run those slants. He could run those post routes. I mean, you got it. This definitely is a top two in the league.
Yeah, I agree with
100%.
you. I will say top two, but not one. I still think that's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Those are two of the most talented receivers in the league. Just like Pickens and CD, T. Higgins will be a wide receiver one on pretty much any other team he goes to. I'm going to give them the slight edge right now, but CD and Pickens look really good so far.
I mean, look at what they're doing when they're on the field together, and now that Dak's kind of gaining that connection with George Pickens, I mean, they're just looking dangerous. I mean, there was one deep ball he threw. I think it was in the second quarter, wasn't it, Dylan, that he threw that deep ball 40
Yep.
yards down the field to Pickens?
Yep.
It just looked over Lattimore. It just looked effortless. I mean, these guys are phenomenal, and I didn't realize George Pickens was that good in the open field either. Like, this guy is an absolute weapon, especially with that. Like, I mean, you look at his body. I mean, he's a big guy, but man, he is elusive too in the open field. So, I mean, they got two alphas down there in Dallas. Like they said before the season, 1A and 1B. I mean, they really showed. And honestly, Dak Prescott is just putting the ball in the right people's hands. So we'll see if that continues.
Well,
But another takeaway. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I want to ask you all a question. Is George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and Jake Ferguson the best receiver and tight end duo in the league?
100%. I mean, Kyle will probably try to throw the Bengals in there, but
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna throw Gesicki there over Ferguson because I do think it's close with Pickens and CD compared to Jamar and T. But the difference between Ferguson and Gesicki is, I'd say, pretty wide. I'd say pretty
Yeah.
wide.
I mean, yeah. And you have to give the quarterback credit for getting them the ball because if you look, I mean, that's why Jamar and T have not been as productive this year because look who's throwing them the football. So obviously that does have a large factor on everything. So I mean, we got to give credit there to Dak for making the right throws and the right reads and putting them in positions to succeed. But I agree with you, Dylan. I think this is, I mean, you could even throw Javonte Williams in there. This could be, and Dak, I think this is I mean, the points are showing it. I think this is the most explosive, most talented offense in the league. Obviously, with that defense, you never know what you're going to get, but this is phenomenal offense. So, another takeaway from this game is Jaden Daniels goes out hurt. It doesn't look like it's going to be a long injury, but it is a hamstring injury. So that's always a little bit tricky. Dan Quinn said that he shouldn't be out for too long. I think he's day to day right now. So we'll see if he plays this week. But, he did miss the rest of that game. And do you guys think that was more of the fact that, they were already down big and they're just being precautious because he's already been banged up this year? Or do you think it was actually a significant injury?
I mean, I think it was more to do with they're already getting. They're already down by almost 20 by then, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just as a Cowboys fan, I never want to see Jay Daniels get hurt because I love the rivalry we got. We both
Hmm.
explosive offenses with known not to have really great defenses. So these are great games going in this season, and he's a star. Jay Daniels is a star, and he's proved that. And it sucks to see him hurt, but yeah, I think it was more to prevent it to get worse than it was like anything else.
I mean, I feel like I have to say this every single week now. These hamstring injuries are no joke at all. That soft
Hmm.
tissue, they can linger, they can get progressively worse once you already feel better. So the Commanders need to pray because Marcus Mariota is not going to get you any wins.
No,
And
they got to get that wide receiver room healthy too
yeah,
and
exactly.
fast.
And even when Terry has played, he just has been ineffective once
Yep.
Debo has really
Hmm.
taken over as that alpha. So it's going to be very important to get them two back, get that running game going again. I know Bill had not a great game against the Cowboys this week.
Yeah. I mean, none of them did. That Cowboys defensive line showed up. Deron Bland got a pick six. Nice to finally see him defend a pass. I mean, they looked good this week, and it could be on. The Commanders didn't have their best game this week either, but it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. But moving right ahead, Chiefs versus Raiders. The Chiefs are rolling. I mean, I can't believe a couple weeks ago here on the podcast we were discussing like, is this the end of the dynasty? I mean, they have absolutely flipped that on its head. Mahomes is playing phenomenal again. They're getting all their weapons back. I mean, they look explosive on offense. That defense looks extremely effective. I mean, what did y'all see from the Chiefs this week?
I mean, I don't want to sound like a Mahomes glazer, but I did call this. I did say the
Yeah,
Chiefs
you
aren't
did.
going
You
anywhere.
did.
I said it's just a matter of them getting healthy, things start rolling. Whenever you have Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to be in a situation to win games. But Rashee Rice came back looking like an absolute wide receiver one. He looked incredible. Travis Kelce has had a low-key good season. I said it last week about Isaiah Pacheco. He's running the ball hard. And that defense is finally starting to tighten up a little bit after that rough game versus Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Kyle hit it perfectly. I think we all said that you could never count out the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes with their track history. But it's fun when I hate to say this, but when the Chiefs are good, the NFL is fun to watch. They're always slated with good games, good teams. But like Kyle said, Rashee Rice having 2 touchdowns on his game back, and Isaiah Pacheco is looking like he's running the ball a little bit harder. Because I mean, I think I speak for everybody. No one wants to see Kareem Hunt run the ball still. The fact that he even had opportunities is crazy. That just shows how bad Isaiah Pacheco was performing. But like Kyle said too, the defense really stepped up too. I know they're playing the Raiders, and Geno Smith looks terrible, but still, anytime you can skunk somebody in the NFL, it's a great week.
Like we said about the Texans a couple weeks ago, anytime you can hold an NFL offense to 0 points, that's a phenomenal week and something that not a lot of teams can do. I do wonder if the Raiders had gotten Ashton Jeanty a little bit more involved in this game. Would the outcome have been a little bit different? I mean, it was just there's a lot of questions to be asked about that team. I mean, that they're down there for one of the worst teams in the NFL. And Geno Smith, I mean, he's not going to return on that contract that they gave him right now. At least that's the way it's looking to me. Obviously, Max Crosby is in trade rumors. Well, it remains to see what happens, but it's just another disappointing week from this Raiders team. Moving on to Monday Night Football. I thought this was going to be a high scoring matchup, and it was kind of the opposite, more of a defensive game. Both teams' defenses played really well. It was kind of hard to get things going for both teams. Lions end up getting the win, but they're the first defense to really slow down Baker Mayfield. And I know there's a lot of other contributing factors, like that Buccaneers offense is absolutely injury ravaged, but that Lions defense played really good. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is a game wrecker, and they've got good players all over the field. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Dylan. What'd you take away from this game?
Yeah, I'm more surprised on the Lions defense because if you look at their secondary, I don't think they have a single starter.
Nope, it's beat up, and that's what was so surprising. It was a bunch of twos that played that
Yeah,
well.
because I mean they held Emeka to four receptions, and
Yeah.
Mike Evans went out without getting anything. I'm looking right now. It was Cade Otton and Tez Johnson, the guys getting the main targets. So there was a lot of spreading the ball around, but it did not look good for them at all.
And Jameer Gibbs just took over the game.
Oh, he
Took over
absolutely
the
did.
game.
That
I
dude's
mean,
in the league by far.
you think he's the fastest in the league? I think now that Tyreek Hill's out, he's the fastest player in the league. I mean, and he's the most. Would you say he's the most dangerous player in the league right now?
He's definitely the most explosive.
I'm still going to give danger to Bijan just because of the upside on the receiving game is a little bit stronger than maybe Jameer's is. They're both explosive running backs, but Jameer's, I'd say he's one of the more fun players to watch. He's always got some good celebrations. He's always breaking off for some explosive plays. Yeah, I love Sonic.
I will say I like how the Lions utilize him and David Montgomery. Obviously, Montgomery's starting to reach that into that shelf life that a running back has. So Jameer's kind of taking over the backfield, but just not overusing Jameer through his first couple seasons, I think has really paid off because you can see like he's still just as explosive as he was in his rookie year, and he's getting even better. So we'll obviously see. I think, like I said, this was probably a microcosm of all the injuries that have stacked up for the Buccaneers, but the Lions did play really well. Another thing that came out of this game, obviously, Mike Evans breaks his collarbone, just came back from injury, and it just sucks to see. It looked like a scary fall when he went down. It sucks for a player of his caliber to get injured, and will obviously miss time. Um, there he could potentially make it back for the playoffs, but it's looking like his season's almost done, which really sucks for a guy that is from the Houston area and also is a really talented and good football player. So
Well, I think the
sucks for Mike
saddest part.
Evans.
I think the saddest part about this is so far in his career, he's had 1,000 yards every single season.
Well, not
It,
last season. He missed it by a couple yards last year.
No, I thought he got it.
yeah, he got it. He got it at the end.
Did he?
Yeah, the last game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got it at the end. So this will be the first year in his entire career since 2014 when he got drafted that he will not reach
Hmm.
1,000 yards in a season. And that's so sad. The injuries, these haven't even, I mean, this is one of those injuries that's kind of just unavoidable. It's not like it's not like a hamstring or it's not a ACL, anything like that. This is just a bad fall that's going to put him out probably for the remainder, at least of the regular season.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can get back by the playoffs. But moving ahead to the other Monday night football matchup, Texans versus Seahawks. Again, the Texans have a lot. I mean, their offensive struggle. It's really getting hard to watch. CJ Stroud has very little protection, but there's just a lot of issues on that offense. Kyle, watching that game last night, what did you think of the offense? And I mean, ultimately the showing on the field. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, it kind of all starts with the offensive play calling. I mean, it got so good for those two games that we played against Tennessee and the Ravens. Not even just like how we played, but the play calls. We're taking shots downfield. We're designing plays to protect CJ a little more, give him a little more time, have him roll out. But in this game, it was absolutely terrible. The offensive line, not a single person outside of Titus Howard played good in that game. They're trying to put Harrison Bryant in to get some blocks to get there were so many instances where we just needed 1 yard. 1 yard in the for the end zone, 1 yard for 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, and we couldn't get it. We kept trying to run it up the middle. Whoever it was out of Woody Marks or Nick Chubb, it would switch like almost every single run, would get blown up behind. And why don't you just try to throw it? Dylan made a good point earlier off camera about Nico Collins just running him a slant. Dalton Schultz, just find him open, one of those little mesh plays, anything. And then when CJ is getting pressured, I believe yesterday I saw the stat, it was 60% of the snaps he was getting pressured on dropbacks. It is very hard to make clean, accurate throws when you're fighting someone or taking a hit on every single run. And it showed. He missed Jaden Higgins on a couple deep passes, Jalen Noel on a couple deep passes. Nico had a couple concentration drops that just hit him in the chest and fell. And then the stupid penalties. Azeez Al-Shaair yesterday, we held Sam Darnold a couple yards short on a third and long. Got him short. Azeez, just pile drove him into the ground and got an unnecessary roughness flag. First down, they went and scored a touchdown. That stuff can't happen. The Texans are not a good team when it comes to the margins, and I don't think they can make the playoffs now. That's already 4 losses.
Wait,
Now,
I have a question. Kyle, how many touchdowns did the offense score? One?
Yesterday, yes. And it was at the very end of the game.
Okay, exactly. So the defense scored the same amount of touchdowns as y'all's offense. Am I correct?
You are correct.
mhm.
And I know, like, I'm going to cut y'all some slack because I know what it feels like as a Cowboys fan to struggle when you expect to have a good season like y'all are right now.
No, I don't think there can be any excuses at all.
Yeah.
We're
And
going to have to completely rebuild this offensive line because it's just simply not good. CJ does
Exactly.
not look comfortable.
You said the
Uh,
play got better last 2 weeks. The play calling didn't get better. It's the fact that y'all didn't play any good.
Opponents, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
y'all
no,
didn't
the play calling, I would
Exa-
say the play calling did get better. We weren't running the ball as much.
Well, you
We-
also have to look at the opponents, though, Kyle. That's what he's
Exactly.
trying to say.
When
Like, if
as
you're playing a
Hater,
bad
you-
team,
Exactly. As a
you can make
offensive,
shots.
yes, it opens up the playbook a little more.
exactly. And
Yeah.
he's too conservative and scared. And CJ is so, like you said, drop back 60% pressure rate. He gets scared so when he's not pressured, he is forced to make like a scary throw. Like he's scared because it puts so much pressure for when you do have time to make a good throw that sometimes it forces him not to make a good one. But it sucks because to me, Nico Collins is a top 10 easy receiver in the NFL, and he's
Well, it's
barely
just
getting
there's
utilized.
there's 2 guys on that offense right now, and maybe even with the way CJ's played, you can only say 1. One guy on that offense that is absolutely reliable, and that's Nico Collins. You know, you look at these other wide receivers, it's filled with rookies. The tight end, Dalton Schultz, has done very good, but the running backs have just been horrible. And when Nico Collins is the one guy and he's getting double teamed on a lot of plays, like he should, because there's nobody else, it's just very hard to get anything going. There's very little separation by the receivers. I know the receivers will get better as the season goes on, as rookies tend to do, but I don't know. I'm not believing in them to make the playoffs this year.
I'm not either. I think they're probably outside of the Titans. I mean, they're probably the most disappointing team in the AFC this season. Um, and that if you look at the division, obviously the Colts have run away with it, and then the Jags have slipped up. But I mean, I don't even think the Texans can catch the Jags at this point in time. I mean, it sucks to see. It's just this offense is inept. I mean, this offense can't really get anything going, and they do have talented skill position pieces, but if you can't win in the trenches, obviously it's really tough. And I also think probably a large part of it too is not being able to run the football makes it really hard as well too. So, that defense is phenomenal, and it sucks
Yeah,
to
I
see
mean,
them get
you
wasted.
potentially
But
have potentially have the defensive player of the year on Will Anderson. He's played incredible. Every game he's making an impact with big sacks. Had the forced fumble yesterday, jumped on it for a touchdown. It's sad to see that we're wasting one of his good seasons.
It's just so
yeah.
hard to watch Texans offense play every week. It's so hard
Mhm.
to watch.
And it's going to be even harder this next week with Nico Collins potentially being out with a concussion.
Yep. Moving right ahead. JSN though. I mean, this guy is phenomenal. I mean, right now, I think he's my favorite to win. It's between him and Jonathan Taylor for Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, JSN every single week is just elevating that Seahawks offense. Even when Sam Darnold doesn't play good, I mean, JSN still had a phenomenal game last night against a great Texans team. And you know what, Dylan, you did call it. You said the difference
Yep.
in this game was going to be if Stingley could stop JSN, and obviously he didn't. I mean, JSN pretty much won the game for the Seahawks, in
I
my
called
opinion.
I called it. I
So,
said, go far over 100 yards receiving and at least one touchdown. What
yep.
happened?
Yeah,
So
he
I
absolutely.
have to ask, yeah, I was gonna ask y'all though, do you think obviously he's having his breakout season right now. Do you think he's shown enough that we can put him in maybe top 10, top 5 conversations, not for this season, just in general, now after how he's played through the beginning of this season?
I mean, that one's kind of hard because, when you are creating these conversations, you're looking at more than this season, obviously.
Mhm.
And automatically with that, you got to get Puka Nakua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. And then that fifth one is kind of up for debate. You got
CD.
CD. I was going to say like CD, Neighbors last year, but JSN is definitely up there. He could rival CD for that fifth spot.
I would actually say this season, CD's probably, I mean, obviously he was out for injury, but Justin Jefferson, unfortunately, with the quarterback play up in Minnesota, has not had his caliber of a year. Same thing with Jamar Chase with the inconsistent quarterback play.
Yeah,
So
you can't take them out of the
I
conversation
know
yet.
you can't, obviously not. They're the top 2 players in the league. It sucks that they don't have good quarterbacks throwing them the football week in, week out.
But if we're talking like skill set wise, you cannot take him out. But if you're talking production wise, you have to take out Justin Jefferson just because of the no quarterback play. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. 100%. And then the big news this week, the Jets finally decide to bench Justin Fields. I mean, I thought it was absolutely insane that Woody Johnson, the Jets owner, comes out in the media and instead of, they asked him about Aaron Glenn, what do you think about Aaron Glenn? And he's like, you know what?
Do you have the
Well, you
quote?
can't do it if
Do you
your
have the quote?
quarterback's. I mean, I don't have the exact quote. Do you want to pull it up?
Yeah, no, I got it right here. He said, that the decision is completely up to Coach Aaron Glenn, which I agree. Tyrod Taylor will most likely be the starter, especially with Justin Fields going out and saying what he did after the game. But Woody Johnson praised Aaron Glenn for turning around parts of the team, but had added, it's hard when you have a quarterback with the rating that he's got. I mean, he has the ability, but something is just not jiving. I don't know what jiving means, but
Jiving.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that means. However, that's crazy. I mean, if I'm Justin Fields, I'm demanding a release. I'm demanding a trade, anything to get out of there after my owner calls me out like that.
I mean, that's just disrespectful, first off, let's not act like this Jets team is any good. Woody Johnson has had a career of just making outlandish moves, outlandish comments. I mean, firing Robert Saleh when he pretty much said that Aaron Rodgers' Jets team last season was going to win the Super Bowl. Everybody here could have said they had no shot. I mean, maybe not no shot because on paper they had some talent, but like sometimes it's got to stop, and you can't handle yourself like that as an owner, and that's your starting quarterback. And it's not like the backup, some promising rookie or something. It's Tyrod Taylor who's been a career long backup, and Tyrod will be successful and play well wherever he goes, but he's a backup quarterback. I mean, you can't do this to your starter that you paid money, but. I hate to see it for Justin Fields because I've always kind of believed in him, but I think this is probably the end of the road for him as a starter in the NFL.
I just think maybe I agree. Like as an owner, you should not be putting anything on your players like that. You can be thinking that obviously in private and when you're talking to your coaches, never to the public. But my thing
Yeah.
is, like, I've watched some Jets games. I watched them play the Cowboys. I watched them play some other teams. Yes, that offense is terrible, but also I feel like they're not utilizing Justin Fields' legs how they should be. There should
Mm-mm.
be more read options. There should be more triple options. Anything like
Even
RPO.
design runs. Even
Exactly.
design runs.
He's not the most talent. He got an arm, but his ball placement isn't good. His decision making isn't good. But I think this stems far from like what's going on now and how he was developed on the Bears. I don't think he was
Yeah.
developed on the Bears. But it sucks 'cause like you said, I like Justin Fields. I like his play style. I like watching him in college. He has the tools. He's just not there.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be there when you're on the Jets. But
100%. It sucks to see, man. I really wish he could have figured it out because the Jets definitely need a quarterback, and this is just one of the worst franchises in the NFL. There's no bones about it. But moving right ahead, we have the NFL playoff picture after week 7. Some surprises. We have the Colts. The Colts right now, if the season ended today, they would be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Followed up by the Patriots. Another shock would be the number 2 seed. Broncos in the 3 seed. The Steelers follow them with the 4th seed. The Bills have the 5th seed. Chargers have the 6th seed. And then the Jags have the 7th seed. Anything surprising from that AFC side of the bracket for you guys?
All 4 of the division leaders, to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah,
All 4 of them.
100%.
I don't think any of us had either 4 of those teams at the top.
I think the only
but-
one that we could have maybe potentially said was the Steelers, but I mean, holy cow. Now, I do think one thing I will say is not seeing the Chiefs on here is a little bit shocking, but I fully expect the Chiefs to get back in the next 2 weeks,
Especially with the way the
playing.
Chargers, especially the way the
Yep.
Chargers have been.
And Jaguars too.
yeah.
Jaguars too.
that was what I was gonna say. That's my biggest. Two of my biggest things is like the big. I just can't believe the Colts made that big of a jump in 1 year. Dude,
Mhm.
Daniel Jones, like
and then
They
And
have
Tyler
the wor-
Warren. And
Yeah.
Tyler Warren.
and their defense even stepped up. And I
Yep.
can't. The Jags. I'm just honestly in shock on how bad the Texans' offense is. They should be in there. The Jags.
Mhm.
I don't think the Jags are good either. Like, like that's the first team off this list in my opinion. Easy. But
Yep. Moving to the NFC side, though, the NFC, I feel like, everybody coming into the season probably would have said the AFC is more talented. I think the NFC has close to 10 good football teams this year. I mean, they're phenomenal. All these teams, if you look at the top, are at least 5-2 in the playoff hunt right now. So the number 1 seed is obviously going to be the Green Bay Packers, followed by the San Francisco 49ers, which with all the injuries that they've had to be in the number 2 seed right now, it's insane. Then we have the Philadelphia Eagles and with the 3 seed, the Buccaneers with the 4 seed, the Detroit Lions with the 5 seed, the Seahawks with the 6 seed, and the Rams with the 7 seed. Do you see any other teams maybe poking around and getting in there, or do you think this is pretty much the group of teams that we're going to see in the playoffs come January?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty set. I think every single one of these teams, I don't see a reason why any of them would really fall out, you know? Puka's going to be coming back soon. I think the Rams jump, you know, I'm sorry, the West, NFC West has been incredible so far this year.
Yeah,
3 postseason teams. The Cardinals are probably just out. I think what are they, 3-4?
yeah,
Yeah, so I don't see anything changing really. Maybe the order of the seeds, but I think that's the
yeah,
picture.
I think there could also be one team falling out. Like Kyle said, I think the Rams are pretty set. I think Byron Young, Javon Verse, like that. I think that
yeah.
defense, not even going to be talking about the offense is legit. I think the defense is good. But
And they got the coach too.
yeah,
McVay's a
well,
phenomenal coach.
I know we just praised JSN, but I feel like if there is a team to drop out, it probably would be Seattle, and
100% agree with you.
the team that would go in would probably be the Cowboys. But
100% agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first set, like for sure playoff picture. But I think that might be a dropout though.
I have 2 teams that I could see sneaking in. I think the Seahawks probably with their division games and everything coming up, I do think the Seahawks will fall out. That is still a good football team, but we saw what Sam Darnold can do this week. If that Texans offense plays a little better, they're easily winning that game. I mean, the amount of turnovers that the Seahawks had was just astounding. But, we'll see what happens there. And, like the 49ers have managed to get through a couple of these games with, barring, they've had some pretty bad injuries and they've made it through, but, we'll see how long that can last. Obviously health is super important in the NFL. Same with the Rams. I mean, Matthew Stafford goes down. Any of these quarterbacks go down, most of these except obviously the 49ers, but I think most of these teams would be in a world of hurt if they lose a quarterback or lose, like Kyle said, if Puka were to go down for an extended period of time, we could see the Rams fall out. But I think right now the only team I can see out of this picture really falling out is the Seahawks. And I think, like Dylan said, I think the Cowboys, that if the defense plays the way they played this week, Cowboys get in. Or I think the Chicago Bears could be a sneaky one to get into because the Bears have played some really good football this season. So,
One more sleeper team real quick that I am thinking of, a team that has been kind of racking up wins and is playing in a little bit easier division is the Panthers. I know nothing has
Well,
looked pretty, but
yeah,
they're stacking wins. And
that's true.
I mean, they're 4-3. They're 4-3,
exactly.
and
They got a couple more games versus the Saints.
but yeah,
That's
we could see that happening. But Bryce Young is going to be out. I mean, I could see. I hate to say it because of how good the Buccaneers have played, but just the amount of injuries that they have, they could potentially fall out too, especially losing Mike Evans for a long, long period of time. And I think Diaby's going to be. I don't know for sure how long he's going to be out for, but Diaby obviously getting injured yesterday too. I mean, that team is just banged up all over the place. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, that is another team too to watch. The Panthers are a sleeper team. Bryce Young is going to be out this week, so we'll see what happens. Moving ahead to our week 7 overreaction or fact. Is it an overreaction or fact? The Jaguars are overrated and will miss the playoffs.
I feel like I feel like that's in the middle. I feel like I'm leaning more towards fact. Just I don't believe that the Jackson their running game can keep up for what it did earlier weeks in the year. But I don't see this offense being good any longer than it should have been already. I think they should have had BTJ going already, and he's had a slow start. I don't see this team being in the playoffs at all.
I
Kyle?
think this is a fact too. I think they are definitely overrated. Defense has been playing well above expectations. That offense is not really as good as we kind of thought it was going to be. Brian Thomas Jr. is having a lackluster season. However, I do see a world where they can still make the postseason, though. at like 8-8, or not 8-8, I'm sorry, 8-9, 9-8, just because I think the Chiefs are definitely going to jump back in. However, the Chargers have played like absolute crap recently, and it's kind of just going to be a mid-off who can be just a little bit better out of the Jags and Chargers. 'Cause I don't really see any other team other than the Chiefs making an impact in this postseason run.
100% agree. I think this is an overreaction. We see ebbs and flows in the NFL all the time. I do think Trevor Lawrence has actually played good football this year, and you're only as good as your quarterback, and he has not elevated them to the levels we've seen other quarterbacks in the league elevate, their teams. But I'm not disappointed with anything that I've seen from Trevor Lawrence this season. Like this has been one of his better seasons. And then, like y'all said, if they get Brian Thomas Jr. rolling, I mean, they got Travis Hunter going last week. Travis had one of his best offensive games last week. So if they can start getting those two going on offense, they get the running game going a little bit, and then the defense just steadies themselves. I mean, we you never know what can happen. And last weekend, it's a tricky game going over and playing in England. That's never easy. That travel, the change, playing in the morning there. It it just it obviously messes with you a little bit. So I wouldn't say that this is a fact yet, but I would definitely say they're on the. This is definitely a warning signs for the Jaguars. They have to turn it around real quick with how the Chiefs have been playing. But nextly, the Chargers are in serious trouble. Overreaction or fact?
I think this is a fact. I think their defense played well over what everybody thought they were playing towards the beginning of the year, earlier weeks. And you see their defense that let up more points than usual. But I just think it really comes down to the health of the O line. The O line is really banged up. A lot of pressures getting at Herbert. No run game. Hampton being out. I just think this is a fact. They're definitely in trouble, especially like we said earlier. The Chiefs are turning their season around. So
I'm also going to go with the fact right here. You don't have any running backs really, other than Kamani
No,
Vidal, because once Amari and Hampton
Hassan
went,
Hackton's, but
yeah,
I mean, it's
Amari and
Hassan
Hampton and
Haskins.
Najee Harris was a really good running tandem that was progressing the ball. It was opening things up for Ladd, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnston. And ever since the injuries to both of those running backs, the passing game has taken more of a hit than anything. Kamani Vidal's been okay at filling in, but that passing game looks bad. Most of that is due to the offensive line. Like we know a quarterback can't really do much without an offensive line, but I do think they're in trouble.
And I will touch on this. The offense has been okay, obviously not great, but their defense can't stop anybody right now either. That's been the biggest issue the last 2 weeks with the Commanders and the Colts. Obviously couldn't slow down Jaden Daniels at all, and then the Colts just ran all over them. And this is a good Colts football team, but definitely concerning if I'm Jim Harbaugh. Definitely concerning. Now I do think they figure it out. And like I said about the Jaguars, there's definitely ebbs and flows in the NFL, but they've got to get healthy really quick and they've got to turn this around. Or because the Chiefs are coming. We all know that they're coming. The Chiefs are getting healthy and they're picking up steam. The Broncos I don't think have looked super consistent, but they're 5-2 miraculously. And so, Chargers are going to have to start winning some close games and playing a little bit better on defense. Oh, shoot. All right. Overreaction or fact? The 49ers are Super Bowl contenders.
I think this is overreaction. I think they're too banged up. I think Fred Warner being out for the whole year really, really holds this back from being a fact. And Christian McCaffrey can't put him on the back too much longer. And I don't know. I think this is a more overreaction.
Completely agree right there. I think this is definitely an overreaction. They're playing a really good football. Mac Jones is playing a really good football. I think nothing really changes when Brock Purdy comes back. He's going to come in, play good, but that offense is pretty banged up. So is that defense with Fred Warner. Secondary kind of looks atrocious. And there's just, quite frankly, too many good teams in the NFC right now for me to put them in that top championship contender tier.
I agree. I think this is an overreaction. Injuries. have been always been the story with the 49ers, and that roster's aging, and they've just depended on Christian McCaffrey to carry them to wins. They do have an easier schedule, but I just don't see them really being a Super Bowl contender when it's all said and done. I do think this is a playoff team, but I don't think they win the Super Bowl. All right, overreaction or fact? The Texans' season is over.
I think this is a fact. I don't see their offense improving any. There's no way for their offense to improve. You're stuck with the O line you got. And Nico being out this week, that sucks. Woody Marks, I feel like is not getting the love he should be getting right now.
Mm-hmm.
It just kills me to say that. I mean, I don't like the Texans. Don't hate them. Just it sucks that you put that amazing defense on the field and you have the record you have. Should never happen. But I think it's a fact.
I think it's a fact too. D'Amico Ryans came out today and said that they have no intent on really changing anything up during the season. That means Nick Caley will continue to be the offensive coordinator. They're not going to make any trades to shore up that offensive line. And from the bottom of my heart, I don't believe that D'Amico Ryans is a problem. And I don't think that CJ Stroud is the problem. I think this is all kind of stuff that has to be shored up in the draft and in the offseason when some of these coaches do get fired, like Mike McDaniels. I think Nick Caley definitely has to go at the end of the season. But for right now, with this stretch of games that we have coming up right now, the 49ers, the Broncos, the Jags, we still have 2 against the Colts. We have the Chiefs, the Chargers at the end of the season. Once they get at least Amari and Hampton back, that's at least 7 losses more that I see on this schedule, putting them at 11. So I think this is a lost season.
I agree. Unfortunately, I'd say this because this is probably the best defense in the NFL, and it's just going to get wasted. Like you said, Will Anderson's having a great year, and it's just going to get wasted. So, hate to see this for the Texans because I really feel like in 2023, they built up a ton of momentum with CJ Stroud's phenomenal rookie year. Then last year was, I mean, obviously being a playoff team was a little bit of a disappointment, kind of a down year, but did win a playoff game. So, you're expecting this year that they're going to get to the Super Bowl. And I mean, it's just, or get close, get to an AFC championship. And it's just not happened for them. It's not happening for them on offense. Nick Caley's not the answer. They got to find an offensive coordinator down there. But I think D'Amico Ryans is a phenomenal coach. And I do think y'all will still find some ways to win a couple of those tough games down the stretch. But I don't think y'all make the playoffs. So I would say the season's over. Overreaction or fact? The Cowboys are back.
I think it's a fact. I don't think they left this year. I think everybody knows when you play the Cowboys, you know what you're gonna get. You know you're gonna get the best offense in the league, but you know you're gonna play against the worst defense in the league. However, if we can keep putting 40 and 30s, we're gonna win some games and make some damage in the league. I think Jerry Jones, please, bro, start talking to George Pickens and his agent right now. This is a must re-sign. And we got
100%.
better. We got Overshawn coming back. Siobhan Revo has been working to get back. He's going to be, I think they said 1 week or 2 weeks after Overshawn comes back. If we can get Overshawn and Shamar James playing together, because Shamar James showed out against the Commanders last week. And I think we're here.
I think this is an overreaction, but that's not to say that the Cowboys are a bad team at all. Again, we're talking about them, best offense in the league, probably the worst defense in the league. Defense is what's going to win you a lot of games. They're too close to 500 right now. With that tie essentially counts as a loss, so we kind of are looking at them at 4-4. And the NFC is so stacked right now. I mean, 5-2 is what the almost every single team in the postseason picture is looking at right now. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it because the question is not asking if they're going to make the playoffs. It's asking if they're back. So I do think that's a fact. They are back, but I still doubt they make the playoffs.
I think it's 100% a fact. I think the defense finally played a good game last week. This is the first since the Eagles game I can say, you know what, defense actually made some plays. I think when you have the best offense in the league, anything can happen. Defense is going to have to play a lot better to win games, but I think Schottenheimer's a phenomenal head coach. I want to give a shout out to him. Behind, there's an upper echelon, obviously, of coaches like I'd say Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Dan Campbell, Matt LaFleur, Shanahan. But after those guys, I think you could start moving Brian Schottenheimer into that group. I mean, he's a phenomenal offensive mind, calling the plays and leading like he is. And honestly, when the hire was made, I wasn't thrilled with it because it wasn't a sexy hire, but I think he's been the best thing that could ever happen to the Dallas Cowboys. That being said, offense is phenomenal. Offense is going to do what offense is going to do. Best offense in the league. Once the Mariano Obershone comes back, I think that this is a really dangerous football team. But they do have one of the toughest remaining schedules, so it remains to be seen if they get in the playoffs. But if they can get a little win streak going here, could find a way to sneak in. So that moves us right ahead to our Week 8 slate. That's a typo on the slide, but we're going to start off with Thursday Night Football, Vikings versus Chargers out there in California. And then on Sunday, we have Bears versus Ravens, a game that probably could be a little bit better with Lamar Jackson coming back. And then Dolphins versus Falcons, Bills versus Panthers, Browns versus Patriots, Giants versus Eagles, Jets versus Bengals, and then rounding out that 12 o'clock slate, we also have the 49ers versus Texans. Then in the 3 p.m. window, Buccaneers play the Saints, Cowboys play the Broncos, the Titans play the Colts. And then on Sunday Night Football, we have the Packers versus Steelers, Aaron Rodgers getting to face his former team. And then on Monday Night Football, we have the Commanders versus the Chiefs. So we're going to get into our NFL picks. So starting off on Thursday Night Football, we have the Chargers versus the Vikings. Dylan, which way do you see this one going?
I got the Vikings. I don't think, like we were talking about earlier, the Chargers, they're sliding right now, and they need to win desperately, but I don't think they stop Jay Jettis and Jordan Addison, regardless of who's at quarterback. Yep, got the Vikings.
Yeah, this Chargers team right now is in an absolute free fall. It doesn't look pretty. That defense is not doing any good. So I think Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, like you said, even Jordan Mason has a really good game. I think Carson Wentz plays all right, does just enough against that struggling Chargers offense right now.
I agree with y'all. Unfortunately, I wanted to pick the Chargers in this matchup because I really like Justin Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback, but they're just too banged up. And what we've seen over the last 2 weeks can't be fixed in a short week. You know what I mean? They have 4 days. So unfortunately, I think the Chargers drop another one. I think the Vikings get it done. I think Justin Jefferson finally goes off this week against a depleted Chargers team. And then, Jordan Addison's going to have a good game too. So got the Vikings. Moving ahead to Sunday, we've got the Texans versus the 49ers. DeMeco Ryans coaching against his old boss, Kyle Shanahan, and Robert Saleh. Which way do you guys see this one going?
I got the 49ers. I don't think there's I don't know, bro. Like, their offense can't score, no matter how banged up their defense is or nothing like that. But also, it's hard to bet against Christian McCaffrey. You got George Kittle back again, and I got the Niners.
I think the Texans' run defense has been phenomenal so far this season. They've held some pretty big names to some pretty low yardage games. But Christian McCaffrey is too good. I don't think he has a 100-yard game. I think they do keep him in control, but they're going to have all their focus shifted to Christian McCaffrey to where it is going to open up for just one of the receivers or Kittle, who I think Kittle, after having a cardio game last week, is going to pop off for something big. And then the Texans offense without Nico Collins, most likely this upcoming week, it's going to be really rough. And I got the 49ers. I can't believe, over these three seasons so far with CJ Stroud, I've never picked against the Texans because I genuinely thought they could win any matchup on any given week. But I think this is the first time since we got CJ that I've bet against them.
And I think that could come back to haunt you because I do think this is one of those weird NFL games where it potentially could swing the Texans' way. But like Dylan said, I can't pick, in good conscience, I can't pick the Texans with how they've played. I think the 49ers are a better team than the Seahawks. So, with what the Seahawks did with turning the ball over and still were able to win that game, I got to go with the 49ers here. I don't think there's any other way. Like, I do think, like you said, Kyle, Christian McCaffrey is going to be stopped on the ground. I think he's held for under 100 yards rushing, but I think he gets a lot of receiving yards because he's been doing it both on the ground and in the air. And I think the 49ers win this one pretty easily. But, you know, it remains to be seen what happens. Moving on. This is an exciting matchup between the Cowboys and the Broncos. The Broncos had a crazy comeback win against the Giants last week. And then, the Cowboys got it done against the Commanders. So which way do you see this one going?
I got the Cowboys. However, I do think this is a very, very tough game for the Cowboys because if you go on and looking at last week's game, Marvin Mims had a great game. Cortland Sutton had a great game. Bo Nix has looked better. Bo Nix is doing it rushing now and running, using his legs. This is a tough matchup for the boys. I'm excited. What I'm excited for, and I think this is the best matchup of the week, is Pat Surtain going against George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb. That's gonna be amazing to watch. But I think the Cowboys defense steps up and gets at least 2, 3 big stops we need, and I think we're gonna keep scoring.
Yeah, I don't think this Broncos defense is going to completely be able to neutralize the Cowboys offense, but I do think they hold them a little bit. I could see them scoring like 24 points in this game, but with how that Broncos offense is rolling, I can't even say rolling because they had a pretty poor week against the Giants this past week. But I think they get it going again. They had all 3 receivers. You mentioned the other 2. You left off Troy Franklin, who had a pretty good game this past week. I think they're going to be able to get it done against the Cowboys in a very close scoring game.
I disagree with you, Kyle. I think any team that's down 19, even though they ended up coming back and winning, the Giants had an absolute choke job last week. And this isn't a game that they were honoring Demaryius Thomas, longtime Bronco who tragically passed away. The energy was there. There, I mean, and to be down 19 points and almost lose to that Giants team. And I know Jackson Darts played well and they've got energy, but this is still a Giants team that is pretty poor. So, you know what? I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I don't think anybody can stop this Cowboys offense because if you neutralize CD, they got George Pickens. If you neutralize George Pickens, they've got Jake Ferguson. If not, they can run the football. They have, and then even the backup receivers, they have gadget players like Turpin. I mean, this Cowboys offense is phenomenal. And honestly, I've never been a Bo Nix believer, so I think they probably slow him down. They can slow him down enough where the Cowboys can outscore this Broncos team. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Hold on.
Moving
Okay.
at, well,
Oh,
are you gonna
I
say?
got one. Let me go back real quick. I just can't believe that I forgot about this. I think this Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is going to play against his former team. He's gonna turn some heads. He's gonna be like, "This is why y'all should have. You'll never let me go. You only let me run on the goal line. His last year with the Broncos. He's gonna have another break-off game."
100% shove it in Sean Payton's face. I mean, that is another coach that, oh my, I cannot stand Sean Payton, but you know, got to give him credit for his success in the NFL. But that dude's an asshole. But anyways, moving right along to probably the most exciting matchup of the week, we get to see Aaron Rodgers face the Packers, and I can see this game going really either way. This is in Pittsburgh, so the fans are going to be loud and ready to go. Sunday Night Football could be a very interesting matchup. The Packers didn't play phenomenally against the Cardinals, and then obviously the Steelers lost to the Bengals. So we can see this one going either way. Which way do y'all see this one going?
Like you said, I think this is a very 50-50 game. I think Aaron Rodgers could have one of those games like that destroys the Packers. But I really don't think the Steelers can stop Joshua Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, he's looked absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? I hope Matthew Golden gets another his breakout game that he needs this year. Hope he gets a touchdown, gets some catches. And bro, Tucker Kraft has looked phenomenal the last couple of weeks. And I think he's an absolute dog. I gotta go with the Packers.
Yeah, as it stands right now, the Packers have been the best team in the NFC, and the Steelers have been good. DK's looked really good with Aaron Rodgers, but I think that Green Bay defense is going to completely stop stop the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers and take this game fairly easily.
I disagree. I think this is an Aaron Rodgers revenge game. I think the Steelers win this one. You know, the, obviously, I really like this Packers team. I think they could potentially go on and make a Super Bowl run this season, but I would just love to see Aaron Rodgers have another magical game. I mean, we're looking. He's probably the last really good quarterback left from our generation that we grew up watching, and I would just love to see some vintage Aaron Rodgers and really honestly see him light it up and DK light it up and see the Steelers get the win. I will say Jalen Warren had a really good game last week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it again because the Packers' run defense has not been phenomenal all this year. So I would love to see the Steelers get the win here. Then that moves us ahead to Monday Night Football. We've got the Washington Commanders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Commanders dropped one last week, and the Chiefs have been rolling recently. Which way do y'all see this one going?
And this has to be the Chiefs by a mile. Commanders are absolutely banged up. And if Marcus Mariota plays, there's no chance in the world that they win. Chiefs look phenomenal with Rashee Rice back last week. Pat Mahomes been on a roll. Their defense has been performing better. The Chiefs easy all day.
I mean, even if the Commanders were healthy for this game, I don't like them going into Arrowhead right now, especially with the way Patrick Mahomes has been playing. Rashee Rice comes back, has looked incredible last game. Travis Kelce's looked really good. I've been high on the Chiefs for all season now. That ain't stopping this week. Give me Kansas City.
I got the Chiefs as well. I really don't think this game's going to be close at all. I think Mahomes he's showing us why he's elite. There was doubts at the beginning of the season about the Chiefs team, and now getting Rashee Rice back, I mean, that's just another explosive weapon that they have. They have so many fast guys, and Pacheco's heating up a little bit. And coming off a shutout last week, I mean, the vibes are high. I think the Chiefs roll this week. So that moves us into our college football section of the show. We're going to get going with our Week 8 recap. Georgia Tech defeats Duke 27-18. Haynes King goes for 205 in the air, 120 on the ground. Darian Mensah has 373 and 2 touchdowns, but that doesn't seem to be enough for Duke to beat Georgia Tech. Vanderbilt upsets LSU 31-24. Diego Pavia has 160 in the air, 86 on the ground. 3 total touchdowns. Nussmeier had a solid game, 225, 2 touchdowns, but that Commodores team gets another big upset. Then Oklahoma dominates South Carolina. Mateer, didn't have a phenomenal game, had his lowest passing yards on the season with 150 and a touchdown. Blaycock had a great game on the ground, 101 yards and a touchdown. And then Satanga, that guy has been a sneaky stud for the Sooners this year. Indiana defeats Michigan State 38-13. Fernando Mendoza, 332, 4 touchdowns. We're looking at a potential Heisman candidate right here with Mendoza. I think Pavia is another one, and then Ty Simpson. But right now, for me, Mendoza is leading the charge. He's looked great. But moving ahead, Georgia gets a massive win against Ole Miss. Ole Miss was leading this game going into the fourth quarter by 9 points, and Georgia scores 17 unanswered to end up winning that game. Trinidad Chambliss had 263 and a touchdown in the air, and then 42 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Gunnar Stockton has his best game as a Bulldog, 289, 4 touchdowns, and then 1 touchdown on the ground. Zachariah Branch has really been coming on strong for those Georgia Bulldogs. Ohio State shuts out Wisconsin. Julian Sayin, 394, 4 touchdowns. He could easily enter himself into the Heisman Trophy race too with how he's been playing. Carnell Tate, absolutely insane catch in this game. Also had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Playing phenomenal, and they just shut the Badgers offense down. Then UAB gets a massive upset over number 22 ranked Memphis. Shocking result, but congrats to the Blazers 1 week after firing Trent Dilfer. It's a big win for them. Arizona State also upsets Texas Tech. Sam Levitt has a phenomenal game, and shout out Jordan Tyson. This guy is phenomenal. Me and Dylan are big believers in this guy. He is probably outside of Jeremiah Smith the best wide receiver in the country. Will Hammond starts for the Red Raiders, has a solid game, but they definitely need to get Blake Shapen back. I mean, Baron Morton, not Shapen. Baron Morton back as soon as possible. Then Texas A&M wins a shootout over Arkansas. Marcel Reed, 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also had a touchdown on the ground. Ruben Owens, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then shout out Ashton Bethel Roman from Bridgepoint High School here in Houston, 4 receptions for 83 yards and a touchdown. Taylon Green had a phenomenal game for the Razorbacks, just ended up coming up a little bit short. Then Oregon dominated Rutgers. Dante Moore, 290, 4 touchdowns, gets back on track. Whittington had 125 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns on only 11 attempts. Talk about efficiency. But this Oregon team gets rolling, gets right back on track after a loss to Indiana. Then Virginia outlasts Washington State. This was a close one. Washington State, a 3-3 team, hadn't looked great all year, but comes close to almost upsetting Virginia. Virginia gets it done in the fourth quarter, though, and ends up winning. Chandler Morris had 179 yards in the air. They barely sneak out a win. And then an absolute snooze fest. Texas beats Kentucky 16-13. Arch Manning, 132 yards in the air. Lots of questions. I mean, he went 12 for 27. I mean, it's not looking good for that Texas offense. Boley for Kentucky, freshman from Kentucky, had 258 in the air, also 45 yards on the ground and touchdown. Looked great. Played a pretty gutsy game. That Texas defense saved the Longhorns, though, throughout this game. Then South Florida gets the win over FAU. This game was never really close. Byron Brown keeps rolling. I mean, look at these stats. 256 in the air, 3 touchdowns, and then 111 on the ground and a touchdown. Phenomenal performance. Alabama gets the win against Tennessee in the 3rd Saturday of October. Ty Simpson, 253 yards and 2 touchdowns in the air. Ryan Williams back on track with 5 receptions for 87 yards. Joey Aguilar struggled throughout the game, but he did finish with 268 and a touchdown. And, you know, this Alabama team's rolling. Notre Dame gets the win over USC. Was a pretty fun game until the end. Ava had honestly another really good game. 328 yards and 2 touchdowns, but we got to talk about Jeremiah Love. Probably outside of the quarterback position, he's the best player in football this year. I mean, 228 on the ground and a touchdown. Absolutely carried this Fighting Irish offense and this whole team to a win against the Trojans. Missouri sneaks out a win in overtime against Auburn. I mean, I really feel sorry for the Tigers. I mean, they have a phenomenal defense, but if they didn't have Jackson Arnold at quarterback, this could be a team that we're looking at as one of the best in the country. But Robert Beulah gets it done for Missouri with 252 in the air. And then Cincinnati trounces Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State falls to 1-6. The only good thing they've got going on is they've got a lot of fan engagement, getting lit in the stands. But, man, this is a terrible Oklahoma State, too. Sorbsy goes for 270, 3 touchdowns. Solid game from him. And then in the Holy War, Battle of Utah, BYU defeats Utah 24-21. Bachmeier had a solid game, just getting things done for BYU. Devin Dampier had an also good game for the Utes, but in the end, BYU ends up getting it done. And then lastly, we're going to have to talk about the upset of the week. Miami loses to Louisville 24-21. Carson Beck throws 4 interceptions, and Miller Moss has a good game, throws for 2 touchdowns. But that's going to move us to the biggest news this week. Billy Napier gets fired as the Florida head coach. What do you guys think of this? Do you think it was too soon? They have had the toughest schedule in the country, or do you think it was deserved?
I think it was deserved. I think they have struggled, not just this year, but the last couple of years under him. And DJ Lagway, let's be honest, has been a letdown this year. But I don't know, bro. It's like, I think this is very much deserved because they have lost big games. They lost not too big. They lost to Florida State, right?
Yep.
They lost to Florida State. And now we look at this Florida State team and like, they're not even that good. They're losing. I think this is very much deserved.
Yeah, it's been just 4 very mediocre seasons so far. I mean, the best one I'm looking at right now is 8-5, which was last season. This year was the year of the expectations, though. This is where everything kind of was increased. All eyes were on them. They were supposed to be one of the top dogs in the SEC. And it kind of just goes back to that game early on in the season, the shoe toss that really sealed the game with that penalty. They came up with the stop on third down. Defender tossed the shoe, got the penalty, lost that game, and since then, seemed like Billy Napier has really just completely lost that locker room. So it really was time for him to go.
I think last year was the time to go. I don't think you could have expected him to perform any differently. Obviously, we would have liked to see DJ Lagway play a little bit better this season, but with the schedule, I don't really know with that roster that they had this season what they could expect. I mean, they have an absolute gauntlet. I mean, even UCF, I mean not UCF, USF was supposed to be their non-conference game that was supposed to be a win, and like USF's ranked 18 in the country. So, I mean, they've gone through an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. And they've got, I mean, a big win against Texas. I mean, whatever you want to say, that's still a good Texas defense. So I think they performed probably how they should have performed this season, but I think he should have been gone last season. He should have been fired last year. I think DJ Lagway, the way DJ played through the stretch of last season saved his job, but he should have been gone at the end of last year. So I think this was just inevitable. We knew it was going to be this way coming in, but sucks to see Billy Napier go, but it was going to happen regardless. Just with their schedule this year, I could have told you at the beginning of the season that he wouldn't make it to the end. But that brings me to my next question: who's going to be the next coach fired? Who do y'all think the next coach that's going to get fired is going to be?
I think it's Mike Norvell. Outside of that season where Jordan Travis got injured, they had just missed the postseason at the 5 seed, I believe. Last year was an absolute letdown, and this year has been as well. You got a better quarterback this year than you had last year with Tommy Castellanos, and it's still just been a complete letdown. Only that really one big win versus Florida.
I mean,
Since then, I believe they've
well,
lost
in
four
Alabama
straight.
too. They
You're
beat
right.
Alabama
Week
too.
week one. You're right. So outside of that, it's just been, I believe, 4 straight losses and a lost season again. And they've had some pretty talented teams.
And this is gonna be a hot take of what I'm about to say. I think there's two. I know Marcus Freeman is young. I know Notre Dame loves him, but if he continues to disappoint in the college playoffs, I don't think he got too much longer.
I mean, they made the Natty last year.
Yeah, I think that's a flaming hot take. I think he's actually been really successful there at Notre Dame.
They're always at the top. They'll win some big games. It's not like,
I mean, they'll make the playoff again this year, though. They're going to make it again. They don't have another schedule. Anybody left on their schedule, though.
They can't continue to finish in the next 4 years. And he's gone too. And I don't know, bro.
I don't know. They've built. Notre Dame is consistently one of the top teams in the nation, and I just don't see that happening. It's not like the James Franklin, where last week we were talking, can't win in the big games, never wins the big games. Marcus Freeman does win some pretty big games, and
I
back then I'm sorry, just real quick, those postseason struggles came in the times where it was just 4 teams. It's 2 rounds. You know, you're playing the number 1 team in the nation in the first round of the playoffs. That's not going to happen anymore. They showed it last year where they made it to the national championship, played a really good game versus Ohio State before Jeremiah Smith sealed it at the end. So I don't know about that. I would even lean Dabo Swinney a little bit more than I would say Marcus Freeman or down there Brian Kelly at LSU. Yeah.
Yep. So my one, obviously, I'm going to say Mike Norvell 100%. I don't think Mike Norvell makes it to next season. I think Hugh Freeze down at Auburn, I think he's gone too. If they can't make a bowl game or can't go find a way to go 7-5 and maybe beat Alabama and salvage the season a little bit, Hugh Freeze is gone. And then I think some sneaky ones. I think Dabo may not get fired just because of what he's brought to Clemson, but he may choose to leave. I think Brian Kelly, if they lose to Texas A&M this week, Brian Kelly could be on the way out too. And then one that's not talked about because they are having a good season this year, but if it takes a nosedive, I think Brett Venables could be out in Oklahoma as well. But remains to be seen.
I know you still had something. You had something, Dylan, about the
I was watching a Barstool Sports podcast, and they said every year that there's a year that ends in a fight, like 2025, 2015, 2005, there has been a running back to win the Heisman every year that ends in a 5, and I think that could be Jeremiah Love this year.
100%. I
Very
think Jeremiah
possible, yeah.
Love. I mean, there's nobody running away with it right now. So if Jeremiah Love continues to play like he's been playing, I think he could 100% do it. Moving right ahead, AP poll for Week 9. We got Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Alabama at 4, Georgia at 5, Oregon at 6, Georgia Tech at 7, Ole Miss at 8, Miami at 9, Vandy 10, BYU 11, Notre Dame 12, Oklahoma 13, Texas Tech 14, Mizzou 15, Virginia 16, Tennessee 17, USF 18, Louisville 19, LSU 20, Cincinnati 21, Texas 22, Illinois 23, Arizona State 24, and Michigan 25. Any surprises, or do you think they got it right this week?
BYU
got-
still a little too high.
I got- yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I think USF should be above Tennessee. I think Tennessee should have fell a little bit more. I don't think Michigan should be at all ranked. And I think Missouri should be ranked a little bit higher too.
I agree. I think Notre Dame, that's a top 25 win against USC. I think USC probably wipes the floor with Utah. I think Notre Dame should have jumped BYU. I think Vandy probably should have jumped Miami as well. I think that was a pretty shocking loss. And now I think Louisville's a little too high. They did have a very good win against Miami, so you have to put them there. I think Tennessee probably should have fallen at least behind LSU, considering how they played against Alabama. And, I think Texas, even though they didn't play well, I still think that they're a better team than some of the teams that are ahead of them. Like, I don't think Virginia should have moved up, especially how they played against Washington State. So to punish Texas, but then to reward Virginia Washington State's not as good as Kentucky. And to reward Virginia for playing the game that Virginia played, moving them up 2 spots, and then moving Texas back 1, I'm a little confused. I think Arizona State definitely should be a little bit higher with how they played against Texas Tech, but those 2 losses and being in the Big 12 definitely hurts them. And then I agree with you, Dylan. Michigan has no business being in the top 25, but there's not enough good football teams to round out at top 25. But it'll be interesting when the college football playoff rankings start coming out here, what they ended up doing, because I think the AP pulls off on a lot of things. So I'm ready for those college football playoff rankings to start coming out. But that moves us right into overreaction or fact for Week 9 of college football. Overreaction or fact, Kirk Cignetti has replaced Saban as the best coach in college football after Nick Saban has retired. Is that an overreaction or is that a fact?
Okay, so to clarify, are we talking about not history, just saying like he's
No,
the best
no.
football?
Just like Saban, was the best coach for a long
Yeah.
period of time. He retired. That left a vacuum where we could have said
Yeah.
it was, maybe Kirby Smart. Your
think-
guy that you hate, Marcus Freeman. But now, would you say it's Kirk Cignetti?
I think easy. He easily has around that Indiana school. Indiana hasn't done anything in the most recent years since I've been alive in college football. I don't think. And I was watching another podcast on Busting with the Boys. Will Compton was like, they didn't even have a proper weight room until Cincinnati got there, and he helped build that. And they paid him for a reason. He's the best in the
Yep.
business. Fact.
Right now, I think Ryan Days has built just an incredible team over there. They're year in and year out just one of the best teams in all of college football. Won the national championship last year. Came really close a couple years ago with C.J. Stroud. He produces some of the best players in the nation, whether it comes on, I'd say fully offense. They have had some pretty good quarterbacks come through college, maybe not translating into the NFL, but the wide receivers have been really good. The running backs have been good the last couple of years. I think when we're talking dynasty, you need to win a little bit more, maybe another national championship or 2. But with all the coaches that we've seen move out, I'm going Ryan Days. So I think this is an overreaction.
I think this is 100% fact. And the reason I'll tell you this is Indiana, while they have committed a lot to the football program monetarily, they do not have the resources to compete with Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, Oregon, all these teams that have so much money to bring in players. Like Indiana's roster, I think they graded it just off recruits, was like 74th in the country, and they're ranked number 3 right now. Like, you got to give credit to Cignetti. 100%. I wouldn't even say he's like the most likable guy, but he's won everywhere he's gone. IUP, James Madison, and now at Indiana, I mean, he got a bag finally. Uh, and he's just going to continue to keep winning, I think. And I mean, he's done a phenomenal job. So I'd say this 100% a fact. Um, I agree, Kyle. Ryan Day's done a great job, but he also inherited a great Urban Meyer program. Dan Lanning's another one that we could throw in this conversation. Then obviously Kirby Smart down at Georgia, but I think Signetti
Georgia.
is definitely the best right now. All right, overreaction or fact? Billy Napier shouldn't have been fired. Is this an overreaction or is this a fact?
This is an easy overreaction. Like we talked about earlier, he has a lot of disappointed seasons over there in Florida, and this is definitely overreaction. He most definitely should have been fired.
Yeah, overreaction. In 4 seasons there, he finished under 500 at 22-23. That's not going to cut it for one of those big SEC programs that's typically always trying to be in the hunt, always trying to be one of the better teams. It's unacceptable. 1000% should have been fired.
I think this is probably an overreaction for this season, but it's a fact for his entire career. If you look at who they had to play this season, 100% overreaction. He did about as well as they would have been expected to, but I think for his career, this is 100% a fact. You can't be under 500 and be the Florida Gators head coach. So moving right ahead, overreaction or fact? Arch Manning is what's wrong with Texas' offense.
It's got a lot to do with it, I'd say. I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question. Overreaction, because I've said it before. I know there's been a couple games that have kind of argued against what I said about, Contrevian Wisner, CJ Baxter, some of these receivers not living up to what they have had. The offensive line not being as good. I'm a firm believer. Maybe it's some of my Houston Texans bias, seeing CJ Stroud, but a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. And when you're not comfortable, you're constantly having to roll out, have someone in your face. It's hard to make those throws. And Arch has not made those throws. He's not playing good, but he's not entirely what is wrong with that offense.
You know what? I would have said the same thing as you, Kyle, last week, but after watching the Kentucky game, 100% a fact. Missing wide open throws, missing easy throws, missing slants, crossers. It's been the story the entire season. When you don't have a quarterback that can threaten you and challenge you, you know he's going to miss throws. You can obviously sell out for the run, and I do think Sark's play calling this year has not benefited him and gotten him in rhythm, but Texas has struggled offensively. It's too good of an offense surrounding him. Too many 5 stars, too many talented players for them not to be performing at all. Like this is a team that put up 16 points versus Kentucky, 179 yards. That starts with the field general, starts with Archie Manning. He's gonna have to play a lot better to, be successful. But Dylan, you think it's an overreaction that Arch Manning is what's wrong with Texas' offense, or do you think that's factual?
I'm in the middle with that. I think it's kind of leaning more towards the fact. I think he's missed a lot. I think he's looked better, but I think he's still missing a lot of throws. But also, it's our run game. Our run game is so inconsistent. I feel like we look so much like the Texans on our offense and how we play. I think we're just too inconsistent on offense. I lean
100%.
more.
I will touch, like, I agree with you, Dylan. I will say that we're very inconsistent, but there comes a point in time when you have all these talented guys and that you've got to make something of it. They've got to figure out a way to be more productive on offense because that defense is a top 3 unit in the country. You're looking at them, you're looking at Ohio State, and then I mean outside of them, like outside of those two teams, who have y'all really seen that has played as good of defense as Texas has this season? Maybe Oklahoma, but I mean, they're wasting a really, really good defense. And if the offense continues to play this way, Texas is going to go 7-5, 8-4. They're for sure going to miss the college football playoff, and they'll end up in a crappy bowl game, and it'll be a wasted season. But you know, I still got faith. I still think they can turn it around. Sark's a good coach, but it's looking really grim. We'll have to see what they do this week against Mississippi State. But overreaction or fact? UCLA will make a run in the Big Ten.
I think that's the overreaction. I like what they got going on. I like the forward progress they have made. I like the offensive coordinator, but I just I don't. The Big Ten, there's a lot. There's a lot of good teams in there right now, and I just don't think they'll make a run.
Yeah, no, definitely an overreaction. I still think Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, those are the top dogs up there. I don't see any room for UCLA to make it even close to that Big Ten championship game. I think that's overreaction. I'm still not sold on Nico. He's played really well these last 2 weeks, but I don't think this continues.
You know what? I'm gonna lean towards the fact. I don't think they make a Big Ten championship game, but I think they make a little run in the conference. I think they maybe upset a team like maybe Indiana this week, perchance. I think, that the Big Ten is not especially strong, like outside of Oregon, Ohio State, and obviously Indiana. So I think UCLA makes a little run here. I love what Neuheisel's done as offensive coordinator, and I think he's got Nico playing really well. I think this is a team that's hungry, and it is not the same team that went 0-4. This is the team that's won 3 straight games. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks. But moving ahead, our college football week 9 slate. We're going to start off in the morning. Georgia Tech plays Syracuse. Then we got a big game, South Florida versus Memphis out there in the American Athletic Conference. Virginia, North Carolina. Ole Miss, Oklahoma could be a very fun matchup there in the morning. Then UCLA, Indiana, like we just touched on, could be a fun game. Alabama, South Carolina. And then moving into the 2:30 window, BYU plays Iowa State. Illinois has got Washington. Missouri Vanderbilt could be really fun over there in the SEC. Then Baylor plays Cincinnati, could be a really good game in the Big 12. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Texas versus Mississippi State. And then we have Wisconsin versus Oregon starting us off at 6 p.m. Stanford versus Miami. Boston College, Louisville. Then we have a rivalry matchup, Michigan versus Michigan State up there in East Lansing. Then we have Tennessee, Kentucky, and the game everybody's been talking about all week. Texas A&M going into Death Valley and playing LSU. Should be a really fun one. But that's going to move us right into our week 9 picks for college football. We're going to start off UCLA, Indiana. Dylan, who do you got?
I got Indiana. Indiana to me is by far a better team. However, like you mentioned, this could be one of those weird college football games where there is an upset. Because every team sometimes are destined to lose a one game and drop one game. But I don't think this happens here.
Yeah, I'm going Indiana as well. Fernando Mendoza's been the Heisman front runner right now. He's looked really good. That entire team has looked good. And again, I don't think Nico's going to fare well against his defense. I think easily the Hoosiers.
It's a good day to be a Bruin, baby. I'm going with UCLA with a massive, shocking upset. I think, Neuheisel, I really like the guy. I mean, I would love to play for him. Everything that I've seen coming out from their locker room videos, everything, all the players talking about him. I mean, this whole new staff there, Tim Skipper's brought brand new life into this UCLA team. And Kirk Cinetti said it this week. This is not a 0-4 UCLA team or a 3-4 UCLA team. This is a 3-0 UCLA team, and man, it's crazy to pick against Indiana, with how much I've been gassing them up, but I think this is a weird upset in college football. I'm going to take the Bruins here. All right, next game that we got on the schedule, Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. Pretty unique matchup in the SEC. We haven't seen this one a lot, no prior history, but Lane Kiffin versus Brent Venables. Which way do you guys see this one going?
I got Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is overall a better team. I think Oklahoma continues to struggle a little bit. Yes, they won last week, but to me, their offense still hasn't looked that great. And I think Ole Miss takes us home.
Yeah, I think Lane Kiffin is going to completely outcoach Brent Venables here. I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to play much better than John Mateer, who has looked pretty rough coming off an injury. All signs are kind of leading me towards Ole Miss here.
I'm going to disagree with y'all. I never pick OU. I hated picking this game this week, but Honestly, I saw Trinidad Chambliss get flustered for the first time all year against that Georgia defense, and Oklahoma's defense is even better. This Oklahoma defense is really freaking good. Saw what they just did last week against South Carolina. I think Mateer gets back playing to how Mateer's been playing. I think he gets it done this week. I think this one will probably be lower scoring than people are expecting. And I think the struggles that we saw in the fourth quarter for Ole Miss last week carry over into this Oklahoma game. So I'm going with the Sooners. Then the next matchup, we have a really fun one in the American Athletic. These have probably been the two best teams this season coming from the group of five conferences. UCF has been playing great. And then obviously Memphis had their first loss last week, but Memphis only one loss on the year. Same with USF. Could be a really fun game. Which way do you see this one going, Dylan?
Give me USF. Let me ride the hot hand. They look phenomenal. Memphis came off a tough loss, and I just this offense to me, this has been the most surprising team in college football, and I'm gonna continue to ride the hot hand. Give me USF.
I agree with Dylan here. Byron Brown has been absolutely incredible in his senior season. I think they're going to handle Memphis pretty easily. Even though with that one loss, USF has just looked like a much better team.
Completely agree with y'all. I think Byron Brown is a fringe Heisman hopeful, could easily finish in that top 10 with how he's played throughout the year. If he's obviously had a bigger program, we're looking at a Heisman candidate right here. But been really impressed with that entire USF team. I think they roll Memphis, especially with Memphis getting upset last week. Probably looking ahead to this one, but I don't think they get it done. So I'm going with the Bulls down there in South Florida. Moving ahead to a fun matchup in the SEC, we got the Missouri Tigers taking on Vanderbilt. Which way do y'all see this one going?
I think this is gonna be an upset. I think Missouri takes this. I think Missouri don't get the love they deserve. Do I think Vanderbilt is a better team? Maybe, but I don't think they're a better team for this matchup. So I got Missouri pretty. I got Missouri in a. I feel like it's gonna be within 3 points. It's not gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go the opposite right here. I think, not the opposite because you said close game. I think it's going to be a very close game. Diego Pavia had one of his biggest tests. Didn't look as great last game. However, I think he is going to, that wasn't last game. I'm sorry. I'm thinking the week before against Alabama.
Against Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
A
looked
little bit of
great
a
last
rougher
week. I was
game.
about to say.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Okay.
he looked great last week against LSU.
I got my weeks a little mixed up. I'm talking about the Alabama game. He looked a little flustered. I think the LSU game was a great win. I think he's going to come in here. They're playing at Vanderbilt there in Nashville. I think Pavia's going to have a great game.
Yep, that Vandy crowd is going to be wild. I think, again, we always talk about the quarterbacks here, but this game really comes down to quarterback play. I think Diego Pavia definitely elevates that Commodores team, and I don't think Bo Biela's looked fantastic for Missouri. He hasn't looked bad by any means, but I think Vandy gets the dub here. I think Pavia continues to play well, rolling with the hot hands. I picked him last week to get the upset over LSU. I love this Vandy team. I'm picking them to keep winning. Moving ahead to a big battle down in the Big 12, Baylor Bears versus Cincinnati Bearcats. Dylan, how do you see this one going?
I got Cincinnati taking this. I think Cincinnati makes a big jump in the AP rankings too. I think they at least jump 2 to 3 spots in this one at least. And they could even jump even more if there's some more losses fall in their favor. But I don't know. This Baylor team is very bland to me. I got Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Sawyer Robinson here. I don't know. I know Cincinnati jumped into that top 25, but we talk about just having those college football games that are very close. Can go either way, a little bit of an upset, and I think this is where I'm going to go.
I got to go with the Bears. My grandparents went to Baylor. This is a completely gut feeling, but I've loved what I've seen out of Sawyer Robinson over his career for Baylor. And, I'm not quite a believer in Cincinnati yet. We'll see. I mean, I could be completely proven wrong, but I got to go with the home ties. I got to go with Sawyer Robinson. I got to go with them Baylor Bears. Lastly, the matchup of the week. Everybody's been talking about this one. Texas A&M has not won at Death Valley, I believe, ever since they've joined the SEC. This has been a really tough place to play. Mike Elko referred to it in his press conference this week. 2019, they absolutely got posed. I mean, LSU was doing that to every single team, but this A&M team has had a lot of trouble going down to Death Valley. Very tricky game. This has probably been the best A&M team to roll into Death Valley, but obviously, big rivalry matchup, big game. Which way do y'all see this one going?
Chase, we need to talk about nonstop about how A&M chokes. Well, I got A&M.
Mhm.
I don't think this game. I think they wait till the college playoffs to choke. I think LSU, like was shown last week, is a fraud. I think they're frauds. I think they finally break that curse and beat LSU at home. And I got A&M.
I think the biggest difference in this game is going to be, you got two very good defenses, but Marcel Reed has answered every single question that has been thrown at him so far this season, and Nussmeier has not. And I think that's going to be the difference. Marcel Reed's going to elevate his receivers the way they have been moving. I believe they're getting Le'Veon Moss back for this week, so him and Ruben Owens will be a nice little combo. I think this offense is going to be way too much for LSU.
You know what? They haven't won down in Death Valley. Don't think they start now. I'm going with the Tigers. I wanted to pick Texas A&M. I've loved what I've seen out of the Aggies over the last couple weeks. I mean, they've shown games where they can win with their defense. They've shown games where they can win with their offense, but they haven't played a complete game yet. And since that Notre Dame game, which I think Notre Dame's a tad bit overrated, they haven't really truly been tested. They played at home in College Station. They struggled against Auburn. They almost lost last week to Arkansas. I think LSU's defense contains Texas A&M's offense, and for some reason, I just think that Death Valley crowd is going to be going crazy. It's a night game down there at Tiger Stadium. It's probably against my better judgment to trust this LSU team, but I think LSU gets it done. All right, and we're gonna talk about our picks for over the last couple weeks. Kyle is 15 and sitting at 15-9 right now, doing pretty well. Dylan had a great week last week, moving into the lead. Now 16-8, great record, and I had a little bit better last week after an atrocious first week. I moved up to 11-13, so doing a little bit better. I'd like to see all three of us getting the positive this next week, because then it shows that we actually know what we're talking about. But
Shows two.
yeah, at least
only-
two of y'all know. Yeah,
Two of us look pretty good. Yeah, two of us look
yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. But moving right ahead into our best bets of the week, Dylan, I'm gonna let you take it away with yours.
I got the Bears over Ravens. I think it's absolutely crazy that they have the Ravens over the Bears and the money line wise. Even with Lamar coming back, the Bears have won what 5 in a row now, 4 in a row.
Yep. Four.
Continues to answer the questions that we had for him. Even Rome Odunze hasn't been producing as much as he has been in the past, but they're still finding ways to score. DeAndre Swift has looked amazing. Monongai has had an increase in touches. I think the Bears take this over the Ravens. And the 49ers and Texans under 41.5 total points. I think this speaks for itself. I think we're looking at two good defenses, one terrible offense, and one pretty good offense. So I think this speaks for itself and why I took the under on points. Then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Him and Shohei are the most feared hitters in the World Series. And I think it speaks for itself why I think he's going to get walked in game one. So those are great. To me, those are easy, great bets. And let's see if we can win some money together.
That's
So,
an awful
my dog of the
typo in
week-
Guerrero Jr. But
Yeah.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Tyler. Go ahead,
I was gonna
Kyle.
say,
Yeah,
My,
we can't post this one, but we can maybe just let it. We can't let the slide get posted at least. But anyways, go ahead, Kyle.
Weddle. That's what it said.
Weddle.
Weddle.
Yeah,
Right.
It's-
So my
yeah, Guerrero.
it's Weddle for sure. But anyways, my dog of the week is gonna be the Blue Jays in game one. I saw a statistic from Ben Verlander. I think he said in the last 13 instances where a team has swept and played only 4 games in a league championship series versus a team that has played all 7. The team that has played all 7 games has gone on to win every single time. And I think the Blue Jays are going to get started off hot. Dodgers had a little break. I believe by the time that they play their game, it would have been 7 complete days. And
Yep.
that's just not good for hitters at all. It'll be good for the pitching. It'll get they'll have their pitchers lined up the way that they want to. They get to set their rotation. But I think the Blue Jays are going to come out a little bit stronger. So that's going to be my dog of the week. My bet of the week, however, is going to be the Falcons -7.5 versus the Dolphins. This one kind of speaks for itself. The Dolphins have just all around been one of the worst teams in the league so far. I think Bijan Robinson's going to have a great game like he always does. Drake London's going to bounce back from a pretty poor outing on Sunday Night Football versus the 49ers. And then my player prop of the week, something that I put in every single one of my parlays anytime I do a basketball bet. That's going to be on Men Thompson over on the points, rebounds, and assists. Today, he had 28. However, it wasn't his greatest game. He didn't have any of those three-point shots falling. Some of the rebounds were getting taken away by Steven Adams, but he didn't play the entire game due to an injury that he suffered. He will be back versus the Pistons Friday night, and I think against his twin brother, he's going to score a little bit more. I think he might score 27 points on top of the rebounds and assists.
By the way, this is the biggest Amin Thompson lover in the entire world. So, you had to go with that. But it is a good bet. It is a good bet.
Ripping my KD jersey, though.
Yeah, 100%. So moving ahead to the World Series going on, we got to get to our predictions. Dylan, which way do you see this series going?
I think Derek Jeter said it the best. Blue Jays are a harder team right now than the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are juggernauts. The Dodgers to me look like the best, way better team. But how can I bet against George Springer when he shows day in and day out that he's the most clutch hitter in this series? I gotta go with the Blue Jays. I gotta go with the Blue Jays in 6. I think they could take it at home, and I'm excited to see if Kevin Gausman can continue pitching good. And I don't believe in this Dodgers team. Something is telling me barely anybody wins back-to-back World Series, and I don't think it's going to happen now. I got the Jays in 6.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you a little bit, not fully. I do believe in this Dodgers team. I do think this break is going to harm them a little bit. I think they're going to drop the first game at least. It's going to come back. But this Dodgers team is too good to lose. If they're going to lose, it's going to be in 7, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are going to elevate this Blue Jays offense, and it's been the bottom of the order for the Blue Jays offense that has just been absolutely killing things, setting the table for the top of the order, driving in runs of their own. Andres Gimenez, Addison Barger, it's kind of just been a next man up mentality. Their pitching is going to fare pretty well, I think. Max Scherzer in the postseason is always going to be great. Always. Doesn't matter which one of the 5 teams I think he's played in the World Series for. He's always going to be great. Shane Bieber looked good. Kevin Gausman, I believe, will turn it around. And then the biggest storyline, pitching-wise, I think, of the postseason has been Trey Savage. He's been incredible. Anytime they've called on him, he's answered. Looked great against the Yankees. Looked incredible here against the Mariners in that Game 6 outing. But the Dodgers are a very scary team. I think they're going to force it to 7, but in the end, I think Toronto's offense is too high-powered. I'm going Jays in 7.
And I am nervous about the Jays bullpen going against the Dodgers.
Well, I'm even more worried about the Dodgers bullpen going against the Blue Jays. So far, what we've seen is outside of that starting rotation, as soon as the bullpen comes in, I've talked to a couple of my friends who are Dodgers fans, and their biggest concern is the bullpen.
I think Blue Jays win this easy if Bo Bichette plays. Bo Bichette.
Well, he said he is. I don't think that's going to make the impact. I don't think that's going to make the impact that you're maybe
Y'all
thinking.
are tripping. I got to get to my pick here. Because y'all are tripping. This is the Astros bias, Astro hate for the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers.
No, it's not even like that. It's not even like that with the Dodgers.
It 100% is. 100%. I'm a Padres fan, and I'm picking the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers win in 5 games this series. They have the best player in baseball. When Shohei Ohtani is your 4th best pitcher on your roster for the postseason, that is absolutely insane. They have so many
Chase,
talented arms.
real
Yamamoto
quick,
has been
answer me
nails.
this though.
Blake Snell has been phenomenal. Glasnow's been great. That starting rotation, they all four, and then they get to Otani, and then they roll it right back over with Yamamoto, then Snell, then Glasnow. I mean, it's crazy.
They played
How can you-
really close games against the Brewers, who have a horrific offense. The Blue Jays have a really good
Who
offense.
also
But that's
won the
not even
most
the case.
games
That's
in
not
the
even the
MLB.
case.
They won the most games in the MLB, Kyle. This is you're acting like this is one of the best teams ever assembled. It's cheating, obviously, with how they're deferring wages, but come on. I mean, what needs to be said? They have 3 MVPs in their lineup: Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and
But
Freddie
time
Freeman.
and time again, since I would say 2022, whenever the wild card series started, we have seen whenever these teams take long breaks, it never fares well. The hitters come
Have
out
we ever
rusty.
seen a team like the Dodgers, though? They obviously in the regular season didn't put up the win total they should have, but have we ever seen
This
a
is
team?
going to sound like Astros bias. Yes, the 2019 Astros.
No. Not to
2019
this team.
2019 Astros were one of the
Come
greatest teams ever
on.
assembled.
How aren't
This
they?
is-
Look at that lineup. Tell me.
Look at this
Other than
lineup. Y'all are tripping. You have
Yeah, I'm
4
looking at Andy
aces.
Pages and Enrique Hernandez
Who-
in there.
And Otherwise
Kyle,
had
you
one
have
hit all
4
post.
aces. You have 4 aces. 4 aces plus
2019
Shohei Ohtani, plus Mookie Betts, plus Freddie Freeman. Even Teoscar's good. I mean, this is a loaded Dodgers team. And this pains me to say this as a Padres fan, but there is no way that they don't win this series.
And
is
then
based-
I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Every single time that we've seen a heavy favorite in the World Series, history has always gone against us. We're looking at the 2019 Nationals. We're looking at the 2021 Atlanta Braves, the 2023 Texas Rangers. These teams that have been like heavily favored have gone on to lose. So history is not on the Dodgers side, especially with the repeating aspect. We haven't seen a repeat champion in 25 years. It's very hard. And I agree.
know
This
it
Dodgers
is.
team is one of, not the greatest, but one of the greatest teams ever assembled. I think it's going to be a great series, though. This Blue Jays offense, this is going to be the best offense that the Dodgers have faced so far. And that's been the thing. We're going to have this high-powered pitching staff versus a very high-powered offense. The Dodgers offense, outside of their superstars, really isn't much. I'm not relying on Tommy Edman again this year like I did last year. I'm not believing in Andy Pages at all. I think if
I agree
the
about
Blue Jays
Pages, but I
can
think Edman
neutralize,
has a good series.
I think if the
Well, I
Blue
think-
Jays can neutralize at least one of the superstars, they're going to do okay because their offense is going to put up runs. The Seattle Mariners pitching staff arguably is the best in baseball. And look at what they did. They put up runs. They have, the Dodgers probably had the better starting rotation. Very close, though. But that Mariners bullpen is unbelievable. And Toronto
Blue
scored runs
Jays?
against them all series.
You said that the Dodgers have an equally talented starting rotation
I
as the Blue
meant
Jays.
Seattle.
Okay,
I'm so sorry,
okay.
Seattle.
All right, that's a little bit more valid. But I mean, you would have said this season too that there's no comparison between Seattle and the Dodgers, and Seattle just took this team to 7 games, and probably should have won if it wasn't for a massive home run from George Springer. So I don't see how you can't pick the team who has dominated this postseason, dominated last postseason, has all the experience. Dave Roberts, whatever y'all want to say about him, has been there and has done it. I mean, I don't know how y'all can't go with the Dodgers here.
See? But the fact that we're even able to discuss this and have a valid argument on both sides is why baseball to me is the best sport. If you have, in football, the NFL, if you have a juggernaut team like the Dodgers, let's say all these stars on one team, they're easily, that football, let's say everybody joins the Cowboys. We're easily going to win the Super Bowl, easily going to beat people in basketball. We seen it last playoffs. The Pacers weren't that good. Yes, they made it to the finals, but they got the Thunder, way better team. They won. Baseball to me is one of the only sports don't matter. Like crazy
That's-
things happen, clutch
I'll
moments
say, yeah.
happen.
100%.
Happen. Umpires make bad calls. This is why I love baseball. Is because it don't matter who you're playing against. It's baseball.
Again, for
Yep.
instance, when we're talking about the greatest teams assembled, there is absolutely no reason why those 2019 Nationals should have even been close to the 2019 Astros. We were having this same conversation that we're having right now, where we're saying the Astros, greatest team ever assembled, going up against the scrappy Nationals,
But
and everybody
who went
says, you know,
off
the
that
Astros are going to
series?
sweep
Who
them, blow them away.
dominated that series, though? Who dominated that series?
The pitching. Max
Who also had
Scherzer,
a Who also had a
Juan
phenomenal
Soto,
series, though?
Steven
Exactly
Strasburg.
my point. Do you think Vlad has a series like that? Do you think any Blue Jay has a series like what Juan Soto put together? Let's
what?
be real. Let's be real. They're not going to replicate those numbers.
Yes!
No,
Vlad's
they're
having one of the
not.
greatest postseasons of all time.
He's not going to do it against this.
Vlad is having one of the
you think
greatest
Bro,
postseasons.
come on. You're telling me that this pitching staff who's shut down
Chase, are we-
everybody. They've shut down everybody. They're going to shut down.
You're telling me you don't think Vlad does anything this series because the
No, I think
Dodgers
he
pitching is
does.
so great. You don't think he does
But
anything.
They neutralize him. They'll walk him at points when it's clutch at bats. They'll intentionally walk him. I mean,
I think that's an absolutely crazy take. So, by your theory, the Dodgers are not going to allow any hits this series because their pitching is just too good.
And I think, bro, you're gonna tell me George Springer,
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in the postseason.
and you're gonna tell me that George Springer has no chance against the Dodgers? He owns the Dodgers. Let's be real. When George is put in clutch situations, he shows out. He's shown that.
I think you're very heavily underrating this Blue Jays offense. And
I'm not
I don't even
underrating
think
this.
we're really discounting what the Dodgers are doing. I don't think we're discounting what the Dodgers are doing. I'm just saying I have been fortunate enough to watch, these last 8 postseasons, very like locked in, and I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing all these great pitching staffs going up against these offenses, and anything can happen. So for you saying that the Blue Jays have no chance is crazy when you got to look at history.
They don't have a chance.
And
I'm saying
all
that
of
it's going to
history
be
is
5
against
games.
the Dodgers right now.
It's going to be 5 games. It doesn't matter, Kyle. This team is rewriting history because what they're doing with the deferred wages. It's not fair. They're paying guys copious amounts of money, and it's not. You obviously know it's not fair.
I still.
This is a team that we've never seen before.
I want to shout out Aiden. I want to shout out my boy Aiden. I know you're watching this, and I know you're a Dodgers fan, and I know you finna call me and try to cuss me out and say this is stupid that I'm taking the Blue Jays. But he will even tell you, Chase, that he understands how electric this Blue Jays offense is.
I do too.
That isn't just going to be an easy roll.
That's
I
what you
think
said,
the Dodgers
though.
are that good.
Yeah,
I think the Dodgers are that good. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but I still think the Dodgers. You said the same thing about the Brewers.
So.
Kyle sat here and said the exact same thing. Said, "Oh, this Brewers team, they've won all these games. It's going to be a tough series. I think the Brewers go through." And then what happened? They got swept. They got swept. Bro, they got.
Nobody said anything about the Brewers. We all knew the Dodgers were going to steamroll.
No, you
them.
didn't, Kyle. You said the Brewers are going to win. We even clipped it.
Oh, there goes Chase.
Bro, like I just don't understand what he's saying, bro. Like he's acting like the Blue Jays lineup's ass. He's acting like they got no pitching.
Exactly. Their pitching has been incredible. Max Scherzer is one of the best postseason pitchers ever. Trey Savage is having an incredible postseason. Kevin Gausman is going to turn this thing around. You can't tell me that he's going to have 5-6 bad starts in the postseason.
And Hoffman,
like I said, I think there's no way that if the Blue Jays are going to win this series, it's going to be in 7 games. The Dodgers are going to win a couple of these games. And I'm just leading with the Blue Jays, but to say that it's no chance for the Blue Jays is absolutely.
The NBA is back today. We had obviously 2 really good games, Rockets Thunder and Warriors Lakers. Do y'all want to take us away with the Rockets game? What did y'all see from that game?
Yeah, so right away, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, really all off season. Amen Thompson went in there, dug into his bag, was scoring at will, scored 10 points in the first couple of minutes of that game. Alperen Sengun turned in an incredible game. On the other side for Oklahoma City, though, nothing was really falling. Shots weren't falling. Shea held to 11 points going into the fourth quarter, and they still found a way. That they're the defending champs for a reason, even without their number 2 star, Jalen Williams, today. looked incredible. You know, they had Cason Wallace, who brings that energy on defense, as well as Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. That's just a really all around great team. Shea did hit a game tying field goal to send the game to overtime. Going into overtime, it was a just really fun. You know, they kept it really close to the very end. I think Oklahoma City had a 7-point lead with like a minute 52 left. Jabari Smith Jr. hit a huge three. Kevin Durant made a shot. Struggled to get really anything going though after that third quarter. Put up 11 shots through 3 quarters. Only put up 3 in the fourth quarter as well as both overtimes. And that just can't happen. You went out and traded for him to be that guy that you give the ball to at the end. However, they gave it to Alperen Sengun, who put up 39 points, matching his career high. An incredible game. However,
Yeah, I just think the Thunder did a phenomenal job on making sure that anybody else wins the game for the Rockets except KD. And you saw it right out the gates in the first quarter. They were double teaming him on off balls. They were making sure he didn't touch the ball. And that's a phenomenal game plan going in. You let your best player offensively, if we're going statistically wise, not score, and that's phenomenal. But the take that Kyle got killed on as a Mentosin being the face of the league, or
did you see how he played on defense today? On top of how he played on offense.
so that take isn't looking as bad as what people thought it was. But maybe you picked the wrong Rocket to win the MVP because Alfred Segu has looked phenomenal. I know it's only been one game, but that's a hell of a game against a hell of a team. And
No, 1,000%. You know, and if that, I think he went. At one point he was 5 for 6 on his 3-point shots.
yeah,
If that keeps up, man, watch out for him. That he's going to turn into Jokic with the numbers he put up. He had the assist numbers today, the rebounds. Steven Adams killed on the boards. However, Oklahoma City did come up away. Jabari Smith Jr., they were down by 2 at the end. Jabari went for the 3 to win the game and missed it, but it was a great game. Oklahoma City starts off their defending championship season 1-0. They're going to be scary all season, but I believe we did see a Western Conference Finals preview, though.
yeah, and that's gonna be one of the best playoffs, Western Conference Finals that we've experienced in a long time. This is this is just both two electric teams, and I just can't wait to see more of the Rockets. And we have a bright future ahead of us.
Absolutely. Going into the last game of the night, though, for the NBA, we didn't really get to watch this game because it was happening while we were prepping for the film, and as we were filming. Jimmy Butler, though, scored 31 points in a 119-109 win for the Warriors over the Lakers. Steph Curry had a good game, 23 points, only shot 3 for 9 from 3, though. Coming off the bench, Buddy Hield starting up right where he left off last season, hitting 5 for 10 on threes. Absolutely incredible game, but he wasn't even the best player in the game, and neither was Jimmy Butler. Luka Doncic went off for 43 points, Dylan. Went 2 for 10 from 3. He was kind of shot chucking. Looking at it, all but 2 of his misses came from the threes. He went 17 from 27 from the field. Completely had to take a step up with LeBron being out.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in Luca. Yeah, he scored 43, but like you said, the shot shocking. You got to think about it. If he would have made a couple threes or passed the ball instead of chucking up threes, and maybe it would be a different outcome, and we'd be talking about a different thing that we were talking about. But I am excited and happy for Jimmy Butler, even though I am a Rockets fan, and we're not supposed to really like the Warriors. But Jimmy's had a hell of a story, and I'm glad to see that he's still thriving in the NBA. And as much as I hate Buddy Hield and don't really like him, it's cool to see because he was given up on, and he got one last opportunity with the Warriors, and he's making the best of it. But DeAndre Ayton, if I'm not mistaken, had a decent game too, right?
I'm looking at it real quick. DeAndre Ayton scored 10 points, 5 for 7, 6 boards. You want to see him get a little more active on those boards.
Yeah.
I think that's really where they're missing length, that Lakers
Yeah.
roster. They really are. They don't have a center still really outside of Ayton.
Yeah, and like you said, Braun's my goat. I'm excited to see him come back. And you know what? Like, you know who I'm impressed with? Rui Hachimura. I'm not sure how he did this game, but I know as we're talking about a 3 and D player, a wing player, he has really stepped up for them last year, and I hope he continues to have a decent year this year.
I've been listening to y'all even though I got kicked. I will touch on Luca. Dylan, I think 43 points is no slouch no matter what you say. He's gonna shoot 10 threes a game regardless while LeBron's out. So from that perspective, I think,
Yeah, you're gonna
not
shoot,
a terrible game.
dude.
But, we'll see what happens. Now I've got a big question for y'all. Who is y'all's NBA champion? Like right here, the season starts tonight. Who's y'all's NBA champion?
Kyle, I want you to start this one off.
Man, this one's hard. I don't want to give my bias because I am wearing the jersey. I know I submitted my pick earlier as the Houston Rockets, but after watching this game, what the Thunder did without Jalen Williams, man, I think they're going to win it again very easily. I don't think really any Eastern Conference teams are threatening outside of maybe the Knicks or the Cavs, with all the injuries, of course, because there's so many injuries on that Eastern Conference. But I really think, the Rockets, they're going to survive. They're going to tread water. They can't make a move until December 15th when they are able to trade away some of these players like Josh Okogie, Clint Capella, anybody just to get a point guard. The lack of point guard and just the lack of somebody to run the offense really showed tonight. And OKC is just not very flawed. That was a close game, and they couldn't hit any shots. They shot 22% from three. Chet had a great game. Shea did not have a good game until the end. And then they didn't even have Jalen Williams. So I think it's going to be Oklahoma City again.
I'm gonna give y'all two. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you one, the Eastern and the Western. I'm going with the Rockets. Yes, we lost tonight without to the Thunder without Jalen Williams, but at the same time, um, this is a new bunch of guys, KD in the starting lineup, to get to figure out how we're gonna run without a true point guard. And so I think once we figure that out and how to run the ball and run our system, think we're gonna be phenomenal. I think defensively, Jabari has stepped up huge. Alfred has been shooting the ball, which he didn't do last year. Is really spreading the floor out, and I think one of the also main reasons we lost that Tari Eason didn't play good at all. But another thing I want to touch on is the Rockets free throw shooting has seen a huge jump already in the first game compared to last year. And another hot take for the Eastern Conference and a sleeper team, I think for me, is the Magic. And the Magic can make a pretty deep run in the Eastern because I don't think the Eastern is deep at all. I think they can get past the Celtics, get past the Cavs. Jalen Suggs gonna have a phenomenal year. Paulo Banchero gonna have another great year. And Franz Wagner, yeah, I'm excited to see that they have a very bright future ahead over there. And let's see what they can get, what they can cook up.
I'm gonna keep it probably to two or three teams. Right now, I don't see a clear favorite. Obviously, I think the Thunder, like you said, Kyle, could easily go back to back with how easy it is to go back to back in the NBA. However, I do think the Rockets team is very talented. But one team y'all haven't touched on, and I hate to say it because I hate Nico Harrison, I hate the guy, but I think the Dallas Mavericks have a real shot this year. I think that is a really talented team. When they get Kyrie Irving back, if Anthony Davis stays healthy, 1 through 5, that might be one of the most talented teams. And they're deep too. They'll have Klay Thompson coming off the bench, and they'll have Gafford and D Live running into that center. Anthony Davis is going to get to play the 4, which is going to be phenomenal. And then you're going to have Cooper Flag at the 3. And then PJ Washington's going to be playing the 2, which PJ Washington is one of the most underrated players, I think, in the NBA. I also think, if there was a year for LeBron to win, to go out on a high, I think it would be this one. While watching tonight, obviously, definitely need him on the court because this Lakers team without LeBron is going to struggle. But the fact that they lost to a Golden State Warriors team that I would say is pretty talented, um, by 10 points, I mean, you know how it is in the NBA. I think when they get LeBron back, Luca looks fitter, looks faster, and it's looking like rookie Luca again. I think this Lakers team could go pretty far. And then lastly, I think the Knicks have a decent shout because of how weak the Eastern Conference is. And like you said, Dylan, the Magic could do it as well. But moving right ahead, we have UFC this weekend. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gagne. Which way do y'all see this fight going? I mean, Aspinall's been on an absolute tear recently, but Gagne is a talented fighter. So which way do y'all see this one going?
I got Aspinall. There's a reasons why. There's a reason why the greatest UFC fighter of all time doesn't want to come back out of retirement to fight him. Yeah, he's a, like you said, an absolute tear. He's one of the like heavyweights that I can like imagine. Like that's one I could think of that could do it both on his feet and on the ground. His hands are completely certified, and he's just so fun to watch. Like he's one of those UFC fighters that if I see that he's fighting on the main card, I'm definitely watching. Yeah, I think he knocks him out second round.
Kyle?
You know, I could lie, beat around the bush, do all these things to try to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, but my UFC knowledge is kind of just not there yet. I'm good, or that's not even UFC. See, that's where I'm.
It is UFC.
Yes,
It
yeah,
is.
okay, yeah. See, that's where I'm sitting at. I think I'm gonna sit this one out. I gotta let y'all talk about this.
I think Aspinall, like you said, Dylan, is uber talented. I mean, John Jones ducking him tells me all I need to know. John Jones will be back for the UFC at the White House, is
Yeah.
what the rumor has been. But obviously, Aspinall has been one of the best heavyweights recently. And not to say Gagne is any type of slouch, but I agree with you. I think this one's going to be round two. Aspinall gets the knockout. Lastly, we had a pretty fun weekend of soccer for myself. Getting
Me
to see
too.
Manchester United, getting to see Manchester United upset Liverpool. Had not won at Anfield for 9 years and gets the dub, 2-1. Goals from, Brian Mbeumo, and then Liverpool obviously answered with Cody Gakpo, and then Harry Maguire to score in the fashion that he did. Obviously, has been hated on for the national team with England, for Manchester United, has received so much hate over the years. It's just good to see a guy like that get a win. I mean, he's become a cult legend now at Manchester United. Scoring a goal away at Anfield is just absolutely massive. And then, we're going to have some good Champions League matchups too, which we'll recap on Instagram and TikTok. But what I'd like to really focus on is El Clasico coming up this weekend, Real Madrid versus Barcelona. You guys actually could probably chime in on this game because Real Madrid's got very well known players like Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Arda Güler. I mean, they played really well this season. Barcelona, Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Pedri. I mean, Frankie De Jong. This is gonna be game of stars right here. This is gonna be a really really good match. I'm gonna just let y'all make a pick. Y'all just either pick Real Madrid, Barcelona. Y'all don't have to know anything, but heck, y'all could be right. So
Hey
I'll
man,
start with you, Kyle.
I saw the few clips that I've seen of Kylian Mbappe, and then watching him in the World Cup games that I did watch last go
2 years
around
ago,
back in
yeah, yeah,
2022.
yeah.
You know, that guy's talented. You know, he brought my eyes to the game. You know, every time I see him, a clip of him on Instagram or something like that, I make sure I watch. Kind of the same thing with Yamin Lamar, but I'm gonna stick with Kylian here. I'm gonna go Real Madrid.
So I was talking to my boy Aiden, and shout out Aiden. I was trying to
We need to
get my
get him on the
soccer
pod. He needs
bit.
to come on in the next couple weeks.
Yep. Hey, he been saying he want to join. So I've been trying to bring my game up. I know who Mbappe is. I know how electric he is, how fast he is. But Aiden's been talking up Yamin Lamar like he's him. So I'm about to go with Barcelona.
Well, I will say last year Barcelona did win all four meetings versus Real Madrid. So that is something to watch. Real Madrid is a completely different team this season. Xavi Alonso's coming and really, I mean, they're playing phenomenally right now. They're winning games, even games that they should lose, they're winning close games and Real Madrid's looked really good. Obviously, I mean, you can't discount Lamine Yamal and a talent like that, and obviously their record against Real Madrid last season. But you know what? I got Madrid here. I liked what Kyle said. Kylian Mbappe is an electric player. Lamine Yamal is too. But it's going to come down to a full team effort. I think that Real Madrid has played more like a team this season. Their defense has been a lot stronger. Dean Huijsen's looked really good. Um, they're getting Trent Alexander-Arnold back. This is going to be a really fun matchup, obviously. But I think Real Madrid has looked like the best team in the world this season, and I think they get some revenge for last year. But lastly, we just really want to thank you guys, everybody who's listened, comment, liked, subscribed. It really has I mean, it brings us joy. It gives us some happiness to see what you guys say every single week in our TikTok comments and our Instagram comments. Like we really appreciate you guys. So just keep putting us out there. We've got a lot of good, exciting things coming for you guys. We're gonna have some fun guests coming up. You know, like we said, Aiden, we'll probably try to get him on the next pod, and then I think we're gonna try to get my boy Will, who's the long snapper from Troy, on in a couple weeks. We're gonna have a college basketball show coming up here soon. Kyle's even potentially talked about just doing a Houston segment of the show. So we've got a lot of really exciting things coming up here in the future. Eventually, you know, potentially we could get some higher profile people. We may be able to get Scott Cross, my uncle, Troy University coach, on here, giving an interview, maybe some U of H basketball players. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, just keep interacting with the videos. We love seeing the comments, y'all arguing down there with each other, with us. Just keep interacting with them.
Yeah, I think Kyle said it best. I love all the support, our family and friends, and
Yep.
even our supporters. I call y'all family. Y'all, we're all family, and so I love to have arguments or discussions with my family. And so y'all leave some hot takes in the comments. We'll see if we can get to them.
Yeah, I mean, coming up, I do think once we get a little bit more traction, I do think we want to have an episode where we start reviewing y'all's comments, or just like a segment where we start reviewing y'all's comments for the week. So just start leaving stuff in the comments, and we'll start replying to them, and we'll make this a pretty fun, interactive experience for you guys. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Thank you guys for listening. I've been Chase Cross. Kyle's been Kyle. Dylan's been Dylan, and we'll catch y'all here soon.